trash doesn't belong here. Victoria Blackwell's diamond-dripping fingers shoved Maya Williams backward. The 65-year-old billionaire's Hermes Birkin swung like a club toward Maya's coffee cup. "Security! Remove this ghetto rat from my building!" Maya steadied herself, charcoal blazer pristine despite the attack. Her voice cut through the marble lobby like steel. "Touch me again and find out what happens." Victoria's face contorted with pure rage. "You worthless piece of—" Her jeweled hand whipped across Maya's face with savage force. Coffee exploded across the 47th floor elevator bank. Other billionaires pulled out phones. A live stream started. Security rushed forward. Maya wiped blood from her lip, then smiled. Cold, calculating, terrifying. "Thank you for the evidence. Have you ever seen one slap destroy a billion-dollar empire in 60 seconds? 9:47 a.m., 13 minutes until the board meeting." Maya's Apple Watch buzzed as she absorbed the sting across her cheek. Victoria Blackwell towered over her, chest heaving with righteous fury, while her daughter Jessica held up an iPhone with practiced precision. "Mom, you're viral already!" Jessica squealed, her manicured thumb dancing across the screen. 800 viewers and climbing. They love seeing uppity ones get put in their place." The live stream comments flooded in real time. "Yas, Queen Victoria. About time someone taught them manners. She probably stole that blazer anyway." Maya touched her reddening cheek, then calmly reached into her minimalist leather portfolio. Her first-class boarding pass from Dallas to New York peeked out, $4,200 one-way ticket visible for a split second before she tucked it away. "Mrs.?" Maya's voice remained steady. "Blackwell, Victoria Blackwell of Blackwell Industries." The name dripped with entitlement. "I've been a platinum member of this tower for 15 years. I know exactly who belongs here." "And you are?" Victoria's eyes narrowed, scanning Maya's outfit like a vulture evaluating roadkill. Maya's phone buzzed. The contact name flashed briefly. "Dad, Williams Global." She declined the call without hesitation. Maya, just Maya. Hotel manager Patterson emerged from the executive lounge, his polyester suit straining against his gut. His eyes immediately fixed on Maya, not the Blackwells, not the growing crowd, not Jessica's live stream circus. "Is there a problem here?" His voice carried the automatic assumption of guilt. Victoria's smile turned predatory. "This person is attempting to access restricted areas. I suspect she's not even a guest." "Ma'am, may I see your room key?" Patterson extended his hand toward Maya while completely ignoring the Blackwells. Maya's Black American Express card flashed as she opened her wallet. The matte titanium surface caught the lobby lights for exactly 2 seconds before disappearing back into her portfolio. "Of course." She produced her key card. "Presidential Suite, floor 52. Patterson's forehead wrinkled. "This must be some mistake. The presidential suite is— perhaps you're in the wrong hotel? Check your system." Maya's tone could frost windows. Meanwhile, Jessica's live stream had exploded to 2,000 viewers. She provided running commentary like a sports announcer. "Guys, she's trying to claim she's staying in the presidential suite. Like, girl, we can see your Target blazer from here." Comments poured in faster. "Security needs to drag her out. Probably using a stolen credit card. Why do they always lie about money?" 3 security guards materialized from the elevator banks. All 3 immediately surrounded Maya while giving the Blackwells a respectful distance. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to come with us," the lead guard announced, his hand hovering near his radio. "On what grounds?" Maya asked. "Trespassing, attempted fraud, creating a disturbance." Victoria rattled off charges like a prosecutor. "Officer, I witnessed her verbally threaten me before physically resisting when I tried to maintain order." The crowd murmured agreement. Phones multiplied like Hydra heads. Everyone wanted their piece of viral content. Maya checked her watch again. 9:52 a.m., 8 minutes. Her phone buzzed with an urgent text. "Where are you? Investors waiting." She typed back calmly. "Slight delay. Proceed with opening remarks." Patterson returned from his computer terminal, confusion etched across his face. The presidential suite is indeed registered to a Maya W., but surely there's been some clerical error." "What kind of error?" Maya's question was silk wrapped around steel. "Well, I mean—" Patterson gestured vaguely at her appearance. The presidential suite guest would be arriving by private car with security detail with... With what? Maya stepped closer. White skin? The lobby fell silent except for Jessica's live stream commentary. Oh my God, she's pulling the race card! This is getting so good! Victoria seized the moment. How dare you suggest this is about race? This is about standards, about earned privilege, about people knowing their place in society. Maya's phone buzzed again. This time she glanced at the screen. A message marked, Urgent, Board Prep, Quantum Dynamics. She silenced it without reading further. Mrs. Blackwell, Maya said quietly, what exactly do you think my place should be? Certainly not in buildings where you can't afford the monthly parking fees. Victoria's voice rose with each word. Not in elevators with people who've earned their success through generations of hard work and proper breeding. The security guards exchanged glances. Even they seemed uncomfortable with Victoria's escalating rhetoric. Jessica's viewer count hit 3,500. Mom's about to go full savage. This is why I love her. Maya reached into her blazer pocket and withdrew her phone. For a moment, a business card was visible in her portfolio, thick stock paper with embossed lettering that was too far away for anyone to read clearly. She dialed a number and spoke quietly. Yes, it's time. Initiate Protocol 7. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Protocol what? Who are you calling? Your dealer? Maya ended the call and immediately dialed another number. Dad, I'm fine, but we need to discuss Blackwell Industries. The word Dad hit Victoria like cold water. Her supremely confident expression flickered, just for a second, with uncertainty. Dad? She repeated. Maya nodded toward the security guards. Gentlemen, I suggest you review your employee handbook regarding assault charges, particularly when the incident is being live-streamed to thousands of witnesses. Patterson pulled out his incident report pad with shaking hands. Now let's all just calm down and... I am calm. Maya touched her still stinging cheek. I'm simply documenting everything for the appropriate authorities. Jessica's comments section exploded. Wait, who's her dad? She sounds too confident. Something's not right here. Maya checked her watch one final time. 9:55 a.m., 5 minutes. She looked directly at Victoria, then at the security camera mounted above the elevator bank, then at Jessica's phone screen. Mrs. Blackwell, I want to thank you for ensuring we have multiple angles of your behavior on record. Victoria's diamond necklace caught the light as her breathing quickened. Something in Maya's tone, the complete absence of fear, the surgical precision of her words, sent ice through her veins. What's that supposed to mean? Maya smiled. It wasn't warm. You'll find out very soon. 9:56 a.m., 4 minutes until destiny. The 47th floor of Pinnacle Tower had transformed into a coliseum. Jessica's live stream viewer count exploded past 5,000 as word spread across social media. #elevator slap began trending in Dallas. Security, I want her arrested immediately. Victoria's voice cracked like a whip. She just threatened me on camera. The lead security guard, Rodriguez, shifted uncomfortably. His 15 years of experience told him something was off, but Victoria Blackwell's family donated millions to the mayor's campaign. 3 more guards flanked him, creating a wall of uniforms around Maya. Ma'am, Rodriguez addressed Maya, we're going to need you to come downstairs until we can sort this out. I'm not going anywhere. Maya's voice cut through the chaos like a scalpel. I have a legal right to be here, and I have an appointment in 3 minutes. Patterson wrung his hands, sweat beading on his forehead despite the air conditioning. Perhaps if you could just wait in the guest services office while we verify your credentials more thoroughly. Verify what, exactly? Maya turned to face him, her calm intensity making several bystanders step back. That a black woman can afford the presidential suite? That she might actually belong in your precious tower? Jessica zoomed her camera closer, practically vibrating with excitement. Guys, she's getting so defensive. Mom might actually need to call the real police. The comment feed became a waterfall of ugliness. Typical ghetto attitude when caught. Always making everything about race when they're wrong. Should have stayed in her own neighborhood. Security needs to tase her. But other comments began appearing, creating digital battle lines. Why are they only questioning her? That slap was straight-up assault. White lady is unhinged. Something feels very wrong here. 2 more security guards emerged from the stairwell, followed by a supervisor with sergeant stripes. Maya was now surrounded by 6 men in uniform, while the Blackwells stood safely behind them like generals commanding an army. "Rodriguez!" Victoria snapped, her voice growing shrill with each word. "I want trespassing charges filed immediately, and if she resists arrest, add assault on an officer to the list." Maya's phone buzzed with another urgent message. She glanced at the screen without hiding it. "Board meeting starting. Japanese investors asking for you specifically. Where are you?" Her fingers moved across the keyboard with surgical precision. "Minor delay. Begin presentation deck. We'll join for the Q&A segment." "Who are you texting?" Victoria demanded, stepping closer despite the security barrier. "Your lawyer? Your dealer? Some other criminal in your network?" The crowd gasped audibly. Even the hardened security guards winced at the naked racism. Several business professionals in expensive suits began filming with expressions of disgust. Jessica's camera captured everything, but her enthusiasm was wavering. "Mom, maybe you shouldn't say things like that on camera." "Shouldn't what?" Victoria whirled on her daughter like a rabid animal. "Tell the truth? This is exactly what's wrong with modern society. These people thinking they can go anywhere, do anything without facing proper consequences for their presumption." Maya looked directly into Jessica's camera lens, her voice steady as bedrock. "Please keep recording. I want multiple angles of this entire interaction documented." Her complete lack of fear was starting to unnerve everyone. Whispers began rippling through the growing crowd. "She's way too calm for someone about to be arrested. Why isn't she calling a lawyer? Who talks to security like she's in charge?" A well-dressed woman in her 50s approached Patterson. "Excuse me, but I've been watching this entire incident. That woman was physically assaulted, and you're treating her like a criminal?" Patterson mopped his forehead with a handkerchief. "Ma'am, we're just following protocol." "Protocol for what? Being black in your hotel?" The woman's voice carried the authority of someone used to being heard. "I'm Sarah Lane, corporate counsel for Meridian Industries. What I'm witnessing here looks like a civil rights lawsuit waiting to happen." Victoria turned her venom on the newcomer. "Stay out of family business, counselor. This trespasser threatened me and my daughter." "I saw the video feed on social media," Sarah replied coolly. "The only threat I observed was your hand connecting with her face. 9:58 a.m. 2 minutes. Patterson returned from yet another trip to his computer terminal, his face ashen. "The presidential suite registration is completely legitimate, but I still believe there might be some kind of sophisticated identity fraud involved here." "Based on what evidence?" Maya's question was silk wrapped around steel. "Well," Patterson gestured vaguely at her appearance while his voice dropped to a whisper. "The real guest would arrive appropriately. Presentation, security details, luxury vehicles, proper attire that reflects the suite's stature." "Proper attire?" Maya's eyebrow arched dangerously. "Please elaborate on what constitutes proper attire for someone of my background." The lobby temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Even Victoria sensed she was losing control of the narrative. Thomas Morrison, a young tech executive, stepped forward from the crowd. "Maybe she doesn't need to flash designer logos to prove her worth. Maybe real wealth whispers instead of screaming." Victoria turned on him like a cornered viper. "Thomas Morrison, your father didn't build Morrison Tech so you could defend criminals and race baiters. I'll be calling him about your behavior here today." Thomas held his ground, phone still recording. "Go ahead. He'll want to see this video too." The elevator chimed softly. Marcus Blackwell, 45, stepped out in an immaculate navy suit, his phone pressed to his ear. Victoria's son and president of Blackwell Industries looked harried, clearly dealing with multiple crises. "Mother, what the hell is going on down here? I've got board members calling about some viral video." He stopped mid-sentence when he saw the circus. Security guards, cameras, his mother's flushed face, Jessica's live stream setup, and Maya standing in the center like the eye of a hurricane. Something in Maya's bearing, the way she held herself despite being surrounded, made his business instincts scream warnings. "Marcus! Perfect timing!" Victoria's voice dripped with vindictive satisfaction. "Help me explain to this con artist that she doesn't belong in buildings where real success is earned." Marcus's experienced eyes swept the scene again. The security positioning, the number of recording devices, the crowd's divided reaction, and finally Maya's unnaturally calm demeanor. "What happened to your face?" he asked Maya directly, ignoring his mother's expectant glare. Your mother happened to do it. Marcus turned slowly to Victoria. You physically struck her? I defended our family's reputation and this building's standards. Victoria's voice climbed toward hysteria. She was trespassing, and when I politely requested her departure, she became violent and made direct threats against our safety. That's not what any of these videos show, Thomas called out, holding up his phone along with a dozen others. Jessica spun around, her live stream wavering. Wait, how many people were recording? Everyone with a phone, Sarah Lane answered grimly, and it's all going to be subpoenaed if this goes to court. Maya checked her watch with the precision of a sniper. 9:59 a.m. Her phone rang. Without hesitation, she answered the speaker, her voice carrying clearly across the marble lobby. Maya, where are you? The investors are getting seriously restless. The Japanese delegation specifically requested your infrastructure projections. The voice was crisp, professional, clearly from someone managing million-dollar decisions. Slight delay, David. Begin with the market analysis segment. I'll join you for the technical presentation. Should I reschedule the signing ceremony? Absolutely not. Everything proceeds as planned. She ended the call. The lobby had gone library quiet, everyone straining to parse the implications of what they'd just heard. Victoria's face was approaching dangerous shades of purple. Who do you think you're fooling with this elaborate charade? Nobody here believes you have some mysterious important meeting. Marcus stepped closer to Maya, his finely tuned business radar screaming alerts. Miss Williams, Maya Williams. The name hit Marcus like a physical blow, all color drained from his face as recognition dawned. Williams? Marcus repeated, his voice barely audible. Maya's smile was razor thin. That's right, Maya Williams. Marcus pulled out his phone with trembling fingers, typing frantically. His Google search results made him stumble backward into the marble wall. Mother! His voice cracked like a pubescent teenager. We need to talk! Right fucking now! Language, Marcus! Victoria snapped. Not until security removes this criminal from our... She's not a criminal! Marcus's shout echoed through the lobby. Jesus Christ, Mother, do you have any idea what you've done? Jessica's live stream had exploded to 12,000 viewers. The comments were moving too fast to read. Google Maya Williams now. Blackwell Industries is fucked. This is about to get nuclear. Maya opened her leather portfolio with deliberate slowness. She withdrew a single sheet of thick paper and held it up so the crowd could see the letterhead. At the top, embossed in gold, Pinnacle Tower Business Summit, keynote speakers. The crowd leaned forward, phones zooming in. In the center, printed in bold letters, 10 a.m. Maya Williams, CEO, Quantum Dynamics, Infrastructure Innovation Partnerships. And below that, Partnership Signing Ceremony, Quantum Dynamics and Blackwell Industries, $500 million infrastructure contract. The silence that followed could have stopped hearts. Victoria's Hermes bag slipped from her fingers, hitting the marble floor with a sound like breaking bones. Jessica's phone clattered down beside it. Oh my fucking God, Thomas Morrison whispered. Maya stepped forward and the security guards parted like water. She walked directly to Marcus, who looked like he was having a cardiac event. Mr. Blackwell, her voice was Arctic calm. I believe we had a 10 a.m. appointment. Marcus opened his mouth, but no sound emerged. His hands shook as he stared at the paper. Maya wasn't finished. She reached into her portfolio again and produced a second document. This one bore the letterhead of Williams Global Corporation. There's something else you should know, Mrs. Blackwell. Victoria's eyes were wide with dawning horror. I'm not just the CEO of Quantum Dynamics. I'm also the daughter of Robert Williams. The name detonated like a bomb. Robert Williams, chairman and CEO of Williams Global Corporation, Fortune 50 company, $15 billion in annual revenue, and Blackwell Industries' largest client. Marcus grabbed the wall for support. Robert Williams is your father? Maya nodded. The same Robert Williams whose company provides 38% of Blackwell Industries' annual revenue, approximately $800 million in contracts. She paused, letting the mathematics sink into every brain in the lobby. Combined with my company's $500 million deal, that's $1.3 billion in business relationships. Victoria's legs buckled. Marcus caught her arm as she swayed. Which you just jeopardized. Maya continued, her voice never rising above conversational level, by physically assaulting me on camera in front of thousands of witnesses. Jessica scrambled for her phone, hands shaking. Her live stream showed 15,000 viewers and climbing. The comments were a wildfire of recognition. Williams Global = Blackwell's biggest client. She slapped a Fortune 50 CEO's daughter. Victoria Blackwell just destroyed her family. Sarah Lane stepped forward, her lawyer instincts in overdrive. Miss Williams, I think you should know that multiple people have recordings of the assault. If you choose to press charges, Maya raised her hand. Thank you, counselor, but I prefer to handle business matters through business channels. She looked directly at Victoria, who was hyperventilating against the marble wall. Mrs. Blackwell, you asked me earlier what I thought my place should be. Maya's voice was soft, almost gentle. I think my place is in the boardroom upstairs, signing contracts worth more than most people see in a lifetime. Marcus found his voice. Maya, Miss Williams, I am so incredibly sorry. My mother doesn't represent... Your mother represents your family perfectly, Mr. Blackwell. Maya's interruption was surgical. She represents the values that built Blackwell Industries. The question is, are those the values your company wants to maintain? Patterson approached on unsteady legs. Miss Williams, if there's anything at all, the hotel can do to... You can start by reviewing your staff's response to this incident. Maya's gaze swept over the security guards who had surrounded her. I was physically assaulted in your lobby and your people treated me like a criminal. Rodriguez stepped forward, removing his cap. Ma'am, we were responding to what we thought was a legitimate complaint. You were responding to your unconscious bias, Officer Rodriguez. Maya's tone wasn't angry, just factual. 5 armed men surrounded one unarmed woman because a rich white lady pointed her finger. The lobby crowd was growing as news spread through social media. Business executives, hotel guests, and summit attendees pressed closer, phones recording everything. Maya's phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID and smiled, the first genuinely warm expression she'd shown. Hi, Dad. She put the call on the speaker. Robert Williams's voice filled the lobby, carrying the unmistakable authority of a man who moved billions of dollars with his decisions. Maya, I just saw the video feed. Are you hurt? I'm fine, Dad. Just a little red mark where Mrs. Blackwell struck me. The silence on the other end was more terrifying than any explosion. Mrs. Blackwell struck you? On camera, in front of hundreds of witnesses, while calling me trash and questioning whether I belong in civilized society. When Robert Williams spoke again, his voice could have flash-frozen hell. Put her on the phone. Victoria began hyperventilating in earnest. Marcus stepped forward desperately. Mr. Williams, this is Marcus Blackwell. I can explain... Marcus. Robert's voice cut through the phone like a blade. Your mother just physically assaulted my daughter while she was conducting business on my behalf. Explain that. Sir, she didn't know. This is a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? Robert's laugh was arctic. Son, I've been in business for 30 years. I understand exactly what happened. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Maya looked at her watch. 10:02 a.m. Dad, I need to get to the signing ceremony. The investors are waiting. Of course. But Maya? Yes. Before you sign anything with Blackwell Industries, I think we need to have a family conversation about whether we want to continue doing business with people who assault our family members. Victoria made a sound like a wounded animal. Understood, Dad. Maya ended the call and looked around the lobby. Every face stared back at her with expressions ranging from shock to terror to admiration. Mrs. Blackwell, she said quietly, I believe you have something to say to me. Victoria's mouth moved, but only strangled sounds emerged. Maya waited exactly 10 seconds, then turned toward the elevators. Mr. Blackwell, shall we proceed with our meeting? Or would you prefer to cancel the largest contract in your company's history? The elevator ride to the 52nd floor boardroom was a study in suffocating silence. Marcus Blackwell stood pressed against the back wall, his face the color of old parchment. Maya Williams occupied the center of the elevator like a queen holding court, checking emails on her phone with casual efficiency. Miss Williams, Marcus began, his voice barely steady. I need you to understand that my mother's actions in no way represent... Don't! Maya didn't look up from her phone. Don't explain, don't make excuses, don't minimize. We'll discuss your mother's assault in the boardroom with witnesses present. Marcus's throat bobbed as he swallowed. The board doesn't know about the incident yet. They will. Maya's tone was matter-of-fact. 23,000 people watched your mother slap me live. CNN picked up the story 6 minutes ago. Your stock price has already dropped 4% in after-hours trading. The blood drained from Marcus's face. 4%? That's just the beginning. Maya finally looked at him. Your mother didn't just assault me, Mr. Blackwell. She assaulted your company's future. The elevator chimed softly at floor 52. The doors opened to reveal a glass-walled conference room filled with men in expensive suits. Japanese executives in dark business attire sat on one side of a massive oak table. American investors occupied the other side. At the head sat David Brooks, Maya's chief operating officer, his expression grim. All conversation stopped when Maya entered. Gentlemen, my apologies for the delay. Maya's voice carried zero hint of the violence she'd just endured. I trust David has walked you through the preliminary projections? Hiroshi Tanaka, lead investor from Tokyo Infrastructure Partners, stood and bowed slightly. Ms. Williams-san, we have reviewed the technical specifications. Most impressive. However, we are now concerned about the partnership's stability with Blackwell Industries. Several American investors shifted uncomfortably. Word traveled fast in corporate circles. Maya's smile was razor-sharp. An excellent concern, Mr. Tanaka. Mr. Blackwell, would you like to address the viral video of your mother assaulting me in your building's lobby? The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Marcus looked like a man facing a firing squad. There was an unfortunate misunderstanding involving my mother. It in no way reflects misunderstanding. Maya's voice cut through his stammering like a blade. Mr. Blackwell, your mother called me trash, questioned whether black people belong in civilized society, and then struck me across the face while thousands of people watched online. James Morrison, representing Morrison Capital, leaned forward. Miss Williams, we saw the footage. That was assault, plain and simple. Maya opened her portfolio and spread documents across the table with the precision of a surgeon laying out instruments. Let's review the numbers, shall we? She pointed to the first document. Quantum Dynamics current valuation, $2.8 billion. Annual revenue, $847 million. Growth rate, 340% over 3 years. Client retention, 98.7%. The investors leaned forward, impressed despite the tension. Our infrastructure AI platform has partnerships with Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Tesla, and 15 Fortune 100 companies. Maya's finger moved to the second document. This contract with Blackwell Industries represents a $500 million expansion into smart city development across 12 major metropolitan areas. Tanaka nodded approvingly. Revolutionary technology, but given this morning's events, we must consider partnership risks and reputational exposure. Maya turned to Marcus with the focused attention of a predator studying prey. Mr. Blackwell, please share your company's dependence on external partnerships for our investors' benefit. Marcus's hands trembled as he opened his laptop, sweat beading on his forehead. Blackwell Industries generates annual revenue of $2.1 billion. We maintain strategic partnerships that account for approximately 60% of our total business operations. Be specific about Williams Global Corporation, Maya commanded, her voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed. The room went deadly quiet. Several investors exchanged meaningful glances, clearly recognizing the name. Marcus swallowed hard, his voice cracking slightly. Williams Global provides $800 million annually in construction and infrastructure contracts. That represents 38% of our total revenue and has been our largest client relationship for 7 years. Maya's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and smiled, an expression more terrifying than any scowl. Gentlemen, my father would like to join our discussion. Mr. Robert Williams, Chairman and CEO of Williams Global Corporation. The American investors straightened in their chairs. Robert Williams was business royalty. Maya put the call on speaker and placed the phone in the center of the table like a weapon. Good morning, everyone. Robert Williams' voice filled the room with unmistakable authority earned through 3 decades of building a Fortune 50 empire. I apologize for joining late, but I've just become aware of a serious incident involving my daughter and the Blackwell family. The Japanese investors looked confused. The American investors looked like they wanted to disappear. Dad, perhaps you could explain the situation to our potential partners? Certainly. Robert's voice was ice-cold professional steel. Approximately 25 minutes ago, Mrs. Victoria Blackwell physically assaulted my daughter in the lobby of this building. The assault was recorded by multiple witnesses and is currently being viewed by over 30,000 people on social media platforms. Tanaka's eyes widened in shock. Physical assault? Mrs. Blackwell struck Maya across the face while calling her trash and stating explicitly that black people don't belong in places like Pinnacle Tower. She then attempted to have security arrest Maya for trespassing. The silence that followed could have stopped atomic clocks. David Brooks cleared his throat diplomatically. Mr. Williams, what are the immediate legal implications for all parties? Substantial, Robert replied without hesitation. But more importantly for this room, what are the business implications? Williams Global has maintained an $800 million partnership with Blackwell Industries for 7 years. However, we cannot continue relationships with organizations whose leadership promotes and engages in racial violence. Marcus found his voice, desperation evident. Mr. Williams, my mother doesn't represent our corporate values or executive decision-making. Doesn't she? Robert's interruption was surgical in its precision. She's been on your board of directors for 12 years. She's your largest individual shareholder with 23% ownership. She represents your family name on every major contract and public appearance. Maya opened another document with deliberate slowness. Let's discuss the specific contractual implications. Mr. Blackwell, please read Section 12 of our partnership agreement aloud for everyone's benefit. Marcus fumbled through his papers with shaking hands, finding the relevant page. His voice was barely audible. Section 12, Moral Conduct Clause. Either party may terminate this agreement with immediate effect and without penalty if the other party's principals, officers, or board members engage in conduct that materially damages the partnership's reputation or violates applicable federal or state anti-discrimination laws. Excellent reading, Maya said with clinical calm. Now please read Section 15. Marcus's hands shook visibly as sweat stained his collar. Section 15. Liquidated damages. In the event of termination due to moral conduct violations, the breaching party shall pay liquidated damages equal to 200% of the total contract value plus all legal fees, court costs, and consequential damages. The mathematical implications hit the room like a physical blow to the solar plexus. $500 million times 200% equals $1 billion in immediate damages, David Brooks stated with accountant-like precision. Plus legal fees, which in a case this high profile could easily reach $50 million, Maya added casually. Plus punitive damages for civil rights violations, which federal courts have awarded as high as $500 million in similar cases. Robert Williams's voice cut through the phone speaker like a chainsaw. And that's just Maya's contract. Williams Global's partnership agreement with Blackwell contains identical moral conduct and liquidation clauses. $800 million times 200% equals $1.6 billion in additional immediate damages. Tanaka was rapidly calculating on his tablet, his face growing pale. Combined total exposure, $2.6 billion in potential damages? Minimum, Maya confirmed. Against a company with $2.1 billion in annual revenue and approximately $400 million in liquid assets according to your latest SEC filings. James Morrison whistled low. That's immediate bankruptcy, liquidation of assets, complete destruction. The room absorbed the mathematics of corporate annihilation. Several investors began typing furiously on their phones, likely warning their own compliance departments. Marcus looked like a corpse propped in a business suit. Miss Williams, there must be some reasonable way to resolve this situation without destroying both our companies and the jobs of 8,000 employees. Maya leaned back in her chair, studying him like a scientist examining an interesting specimen under a microscope. Mr. Blackwell, your mother didn't just slap me. She slapped every black professional trying to succeed in corporate America. She live-streamed her racism to thousands of people. She made it impossible for anyone to ignore or minimize. Robert Williams' voice came through the speaker again. Maya, I've been getting calls from board members for the last 10 minutes. The video is everywhere. Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. It's being shared by Fortune 500 CEOs expressing outrage. How many views now, Dad? 47,000 and climbing. Major news outlets are requesting statements. Our PR department is fielding dozens of calls. Maya nodded slowly. Mr. Blackwell, do you understand the scope of what your mother has triggered? This isn't just a business dispute anymore. It's a public relations nightmare that will follow your company for decades. Marcus's voice came out as a croak. What do you want from us? Maya stood and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Dallas, her silhouette commanding attention. The city sprawled below them, millions of people going about their daily lives, oblivious to the corporate drama unfolding 52 floors above. I want systemic change, she said, her voice carrying across the room with absolute clarity. Not private apologies that disappear into legal settlements, not diversity training seminars that everyone forgets in 6 months, not charitable donations that let you buy your way out of accountability. She turned back to face the room, every eye locked on her with the intensity of laser focus. I want real, measurable, permanent transformation that ensures what happened to me never happens to anyone else. Here are my non-negotiable terms. Maya's terms hit the boardroom like precision-guided missiles. First, Victoria Blackwell is removed from all positions within Blackwell Industries, effective immediately. Board of directors, shareholder voting rights, company advisory roles, public appearances, everything. She becomes a silent investor with zero operational influence. Marcus nodded desperately. Done. I'll call an emergency board meeting today. Second, Blackwell Industries establishes a $100 million fund for minority-owned business development, not charity, investment, real partnerships with measurable ROI expectations and independent oversight. James Morrison leaned forward. That's substantial capital allocation. What's the timeline? Maya's smile was arctic. Funding begins Monday. First investments within 30 days. Full deployment within 18 months. Marcus was typing frantically on his laptop. Agreed. Third, implementation of the Maya Williams Protocol. Comprehensive anti-discrimination policies with teeth. Zero tolerance means immediate termination, not warnings or sensitivity training. Mandatory bias training for all employees, from janitors to executives. Independent monitoring by a third-party firm. How independent? Tanaka asked. The monitoring firm reports directly to me for the first 2 years. After that, to a board of community leaders I select. Robert Williams' voice came through the speaker. Maya, what about enforcement mechanisms? Excellent question, Dad. Maya returned to her chair. Any employee can report discrimination through an anonymous app that sends alerts directly to the monitoring firm. Complaints trigger automatic investigations within 48 hours. Results are public record. Marcus looked sick. Public record? Transparency creates accountability, Mr. Blackwell. Your company will publish quarterly diversity reports showing hiring, promotion, and retention rates by demographic. No hiding behind corporate PR. Maya opened another folder. Fourth, your sister Jessica makes a public apology video acknowledging her role in amplifying racism. She donates $500,000 to civil rights organizations chosen by me. She completes 200 hours of community service in predominantly black neighborhoods. She'll resist, Marcus admitted. Then she loses her trust fund and inheritance, Maya replied coldly. I'm sure you can be persuasive. Fifth, this contract proceeds as planned, with an additional $200 million expansion focused exclusively on infrastructure development in underserved communities, schools, hospitals, community centers. David Brooks pulled up financial projections. That brings the total contract value to $700 million over 5 years. Maya nodded. With performance bonuses tied to measurable community impact metrics. The room absorbed the magnitude of the demands. A total immediate cost to Blackwell Industries, Maya continued, approximately $800 million in new commitments, plus operational changes that will cost roughly $50 million annually. She paused, letting the numbers sink in. Versus $2.6 billion in damages and certain bankruptcy if we proceed with contract termination and litigation. Marcus didn't hesitate. We accept all terms unconditionally. Robert Williams spoke from the phone. What about criminal charges for the assault, Maya? Maya looked at Marcus, who was sweating through his expensive suit despite the air conditioning. No criminal charges, Dad. Prison cells don't change corporate culture. Economic consequences and public accountability create lasting reform. Your choice, sweetheart, but document everything in case she tries this again. Already handled. Maya gestured toward David Brooks. Every interaction is recorded and archived. Tanaka spoke up, clearly impressed. Miss Williamson, this demonstrates exceptional strategic thinking. Tokyo Infrastructure Partners is prepared to increase our investment by $300 million based on your leadership during this crisis. The American investors nodded enthusiastically. Wall Street respected nothing more than turning adversity into profit. Maya opened her laptop and began typing legal language. Mr. Blackwell, you have 24 hours to remove your mother from all company positions and announce the Maya Williams Protocol publicly. Implementation timeline begins Monday morning at 8 a.m. Marcus was frantically texting his legal team. What about the media coverage, the viral video? Maya's smile was predatory. That's your problem to manage. I suggest you get ahead of the story before it destroys what's left of your reputation. How do we explain this to shareholders? Marcus asked desperately. Honestly, Maya replied, your mother's racism nearly bankrupted your company. These reforms ensure it never happens again. Frame it as proactive leadership and corporate responsibility. David Brooks slid contracts across the table. Gentlemen, shall we proceed with signatures? Maya picked up her pen, then paused. Actually, there are two more non-negotiable conditions. Marcus looked like he might vomit. Your mother is banned from this building permanently. Security has her photograph and instructions to call the police if she attempts entry. Understood, Marcus whispered. And if anyone in your organization, family member, employee, contractor, anyone, ever approaches me or my family with hostile intent, all agreements are void immediately. Crystal clear. Maya signed her name with a flourish. Pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Blackwell. The contracts were signed within minutes. Handshakes were exchanged, though Marcus's hand trembled like a leaf. As investors filed out, congratulating Maya on her strategic brilliance, she remained seated, making notes on her phone. Miss Williams, Marcus approached hesitantly, I want you to know that I'm genuinely ashamed of my mother's behavior. This isn't who we want to be as a company. Maya looked up from her phone. Mr. Blackwell, your mother didn't become a racist this morning. She's been enabled by your company culture for years. The question is, are you willing to do the hard work to change that culture permanently? Yes, absolutely. Good. Because I'll be watching. The community will be watching. And if you backslide or try to minimize these commitments once the media attention fades, I'll know. Marcus nodded, then walked toward the door. He paused at the threshold. Miss Williams? Thank you for not destroying us completely. A lot of people would have. Maya's expression softened almost imperceptibly. Mr. Blackwell, I don't want to destroy companies. I want to transform them. Your mother gave me the leverage to demand changes that should have happened decades ago. After everyone left, Maya sat alone in the boardroom, looking out at the Dallas skyline. Her phone buzzed with congratulations from colleagues, interview requests from the media, and proud messages from her father. David Brooks returned, carrying 2 cups of coffee. How do you feel? He asked, sitting beside her. Maya touched the fading red mark on her cheek. Tired, angry, but I'm hopeful. Think they'll actually follow through? They don't have a choice. The whole world is watching now. Maya sipped her coffee. Besides, Marcus seems genuinely motivated to change. Sometimes it takes a crisis to reveal what people are really made of. And Victoria? Maya's smile was grim. Victoria Blackwell just learned that actions have consequences. She slapped the wrong woman on the wrong day. 6 months later, the Maya Williams Protocol had become the gold standard for corporate anti-discrimination policies. Over 500 companies across America had adopted similar frameworks, creating a ripple effect that transformed workplace cultures nationwide. Maya stood before a packed auditorium at Harvard Business School, delivering her keynote address. When they slap, we build. Economic justice through strategic excellence. They thought one slap would silence me. she told the audience of MBA students, entrepreneurs, and executives. Instead, it amplified the voices of millions who look like me and refuse to be diminished. The statistics were undeniable. The Maya Williams Protocol had generated $3.2 billion in new contracts for minority-owned businesses. Workplace discrimination complaints had dropped 47% in participating companies. Victoria Blackwell's viral assault had become a catalyst for systemic change. Maya's phone buzzed with a news alert. Victoria Blackwell files for personal bankruptcy. The former billionaire had lost everything: her board positions, her social standing, her fortune. Multiple discrimination lawsuits from former Blackwell Industries employees had stripped away her remaining assets. Meanwhile, Blackwell Industries had become a case study in corporate redemption. Under Marcus's leadership and Maya's oversight, the company had tripled its minority hiring, launched successful partnerships in underserved communities, and seen its stock price reach all-time highs. Jessica Blackwell's community service had unexpectedly transformed her. Her work in urban schools had led to a genuine commitment to education reform. She'd become an advocate rather than an antagonist. Maya's own company, Quantum Dynamics, had grown to a $8.5 billion valuation. She'd been featured on the cover of Time magazine as one of America's most influential leaders. But the victory that mattered most was personal. That morning, I was just another black woman being told I didn't belong, Maya concluded her Harvard speech. By afternoon, I'd proven that excellence and strategic thinking will always triumph over ignorance and violence. The audience rose in thunderous applause. Maya smiled, remembering her father's words. Sometimes the greatest opportunities come disguised as the worst moments. Victoria Blackwell's slap had indeed changed everything, just not the way she'd intended. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace? Document it, report it. Your voice matters. If this story inspired you to see that preparation meeting opportunity creates unstoppable change, subscribe to Black Voices Uncut for more accounts of quiet strength overcoming loud prejudice. Share this video with someone who needs to see that dignity, intelligence, and strategic excellence will always defeat hatred and violence.
At Black Voices Uncut, we don't polish away the pain or water down the message. We tell it like it is because the truth deserves nothing less. If today's story spoke to you, click like, join the conversation in the comments, and subscribe so you'll be here for the next Uncut Voice.